focus of the class today is a yogic principle called Ahimsa. Ahimsa essentially means non-violence, and we're talking about non-violence to the self. So in yoga, it can be really easy to try and push your body to, well, if you're in a class situation, to try and look like other people in the class, to try and be as flexible as them. And when you do this can potentially lead to injury, or you can fall out of a pose. So yoga is connection, it's union between your body, your mind, your spirit, your body and your breath. So by staying focused and staying with your breath and staying within and focusing on how that sensation feels, how it feels to connect with the earth, how it feels to extend your arm out and look out in, let's say, Warrior Two, how it feels to connect with your breath in the standing poses, then you're less likely, if you're connecting with this, you're less likely to strive outside of yourself and ignore your body's warning signs. So if you go to a point of pain, I want you to pull back. I don't want you to be uncomfortable during this class. I want you to stretch. I want you to feel some edges, but I don't want you to feel discomfort, because that is not kindness to the self. So as I said, today's focus is on Ahimsa, which is non-violence and being kind to yourself and listening to your body if it needs to rest. If you need to rest in child's, just go down into child's. I can't even see you, so there's absolutely zero judgment, and there is always zero judgment in a class, but even more so, I can't see you. So you modify the class to what works for you, for whatever props you need. If you need straps in the forward balances, if you need to sit on blocks to help your hips sit up higher, then do all that. Because I want you to stay safe. And that's the most important thing for me as a teacher. So having said all that, we're going to start with bringing ourselves into the space. So you're going to take 3 deep sighs and exhale it out. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhale out, sigh out. Inhale in. Exhale out, sigh. One more, inhale. Exhale out, side out. Closing your eyes. Noticing how you feel. Noticing if there's any tension in the chest. If there's any tightness when you're breathing in. Notice how it feels to sit on the ground. And remember, you can be sitting on a block if you need. Notice if there's any discomfort in the legs. Just notice it right now. We're not trying to change anything. We're going to begin with some gentle spirals. So first, just rocking from one side to the other. Just shifting the weight from one hip bone to the other. And then when you're ready, rocking forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side. And so you're coming into a gentle spiral with minimal effort on your part. Your body's doing all the work. Then we're going to spiral the other way. So first, just rocking side to side to reset. And then when you're ready, spiral in the opposite direction. You're just noticing how that feels. Spiral and waves are part of the natural movement of our earth, of everything around us, within us and around us. and making those spirals smaller and smaller until you come to a complete stop. And beginning to notice your breath. Notice if just after some spirals, if there's any change in your breath. Perhaps the inhalation is a little longer and the exhalation is a little longer. I invite you to place one hand on the side of your ribs and other hand on your belly. And as you inhale, draw the breath down into the base of the ribs so the hands will expand at the side and then the belly will puff out. And as you exhale, the belly draws back towards the spine and the hand draws back towards the spine. So you're really feeling your breath. So you inhale, expand the side and back of the ribs, filling up the lungs. The belly will puff out. And then as you exhale, everything draws back to the middle. Inhale, expand the side and back of the ribs, the belly will puff out. Exhale, everything draws back to the middle, belly towards the spine. We're going to go into a counting breath pattern. If my count is too fast or too slow, feel free to maintain your own deep and even rhythm. Inhale, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, and out, 2, 3. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. In and out. And in and out. Allow your breath to return back to its natural rhythm. And know that at any time you can come back to this counting breath pattern to help you feel balanced and focused in the class. So getting ready to make our way onto our back, so make sure there's nothing behind you, so that if comfortable for you, you can rock back onto your back. So drawing your knees up towards you, placing your hands just below the shins, and just rocking back along the back if it feels good for you. Massaging the back, and then coming to rest on the back with your knees drawn in towards your chest. I love all that rocking movement. It really reminds me of being a kid. It's so fun. You got to remember to have fun. Life is not so serious all the time. And in yoga class, we can have a little bit of fun. So, drawing your knees in towards your chest. As you exhale, draw them down. Inhale, slight release. Exhale, press your knees in towards your chest. Inhale, slight release. Exhale, draw your tailbone down towards the ground to lengthen the spine. Draw the knees in. Inhale, slight release. This time as you exhale, lengthen the back of the neck so the chin slightly tucks down and the tailbone draws down, feeling the length along the spine. Draw the knees in. Exhale. And release. Good. Keep your hands on your knees. Bring your big toes to touch. And circle your knees out and away from you like you're swimming as if you were a frog. Just noticing how the hips feel. Noticing if they're talking to you. Mine are definitely talking to me this morning. And then circling in the opposite direction. Just moving slowly and mindfully while we wake up the body. And draw the knees in towards the chest. Take a strap or belt or scarf, if you have one, and hook it over your right foot, over the ball of the foot. If you don't have a strap, just grab your hand behind the thigh. If you do, make sure it's long enough so that when you bring your hands down, when you bring your arms down, your elbows can rest on the ground. I don't want your elbows to be up in the air. I want your elbows to be resting and your shoulders to be resting. Either keep your left knee bent and foot flat, or extend that leg and draw the toes towards you, keeping that foot active. We don't want it to just flop out to the side. We're keeping it active to help keep the pelvis stable. Extend your right heel a little higher towards the sky. And then we're going to begin to point and flex. So inhale to point, exhale to draw back. See if you can move the toes individually, even if it's just the big toe. And even if it's your imagination trying to move the toes. They can be a bit stubborn toes sometimes and just want to move all together. So just use your imagination to start. And beginning to circle gently in one direction. And then circling the other way. Remember, we're not circling the whole foot. We're isolating this motion at the ankle. So do the best you can. Now take both straps into your left hand. Extend your right arm along the ground. Push the shoulder blade down. And then allow the leg to come across the body. You may need to bend your knee if you've got obstacles around you. Or you can extend that leg if you've got the space. Either look towards the ceiling or look back towards your hand. Whatever feels good on your neck. Remember, our focus is Ahimsa, non-violence to the self, not pushing yourself in poses to try and look like something or be something, but just be in the pose. Breathe wherever you are. Then drawing that leg up to center, keep your foot in the strap. Bend your left knee and place your foot flat. Allow that knee to drop out to the side. So it becomes like a counterweight. And then begin to extend your right leg and allow that to come out to the side. Now you don't want to just drop it down. You want to keep it activated. So draw the toes towards you. And you also want to keep your hips stable. So you don't want one hip higher than the other. So you've got your left leg here, that knee bent, and it's kind of acting as a counterbalance for your hips. So the angle of your hips should be the same. You don't want one leg out much wider than the other. And just hold. Gently opening up the hips here. Then drawing that knee up to center. And then bringing that foot across in front of the knee and coming into our full stretch. So we're reaching in between the thighs, reaching either for the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin. Make sure that your head is resting on the ground. Gently pull the left knee in towards you. To increase the stretch, you can draw your right toes towards you at the same time. And then slight release. So this is active and passive stretching. If you want, draw your right toes towards you and pull your left knee in. You'll feel the stretch more. And then release. One more. Draw the toes towards you, pull the knee in. And release. Good. Just bring your right leg down, knees bent for the moment, just to reset. Now we're going to go on the other side. So bring your left foot into the strap and extend that foot towards the sky. Remember, you don't want your elbows up, you want your elbows to be able to rest on the ground. If your strap or scarf is too short, grab behind your thigh. Your right knee is either bent and the foot flat, or the leg is extended and the toes are drawn back towards you to activate that bottom leg. extend your left heel a little higher. Now begin to point and flex. See if you can roll through the toes. Mimicking our upward dog and downward dog motion. Circling through the ankle, just the ankle joint. And then circling the other way. Take both straps into your right hand. Extend your left arm along the ground and allow the leg to twist across the body. And remember, Ahimsa, no pushing, no striving. You can allow your breath to create more space. So you inhale to extend. As you exhale, the body will release slightly, so you can come a bit further into the twist. But there's definitely no pushing here. And then bring that leg up into center, keep the foot in the strap. Take your right knee, bend your right knee, place your foot flat and allow the knee to drop out to the side. Remember, we're creating that counterbalance. Begin to extend your left leg and allow that to come out to the side, minding your obstacles. I've got some plants right here, tickling my toes, which is interesting. And then draw your left toes towards you to help activate the leg. So we want to keep our hips in alignment here. Same angle from one hip to the other hip. And just feeling the stretch. Feeling the hips gently beginning to open up. And then gently bringing that leg into the center. Taking that foot across in front of the left knee and coming into your four pose stretch. So either reaching between and grabbing the back of the thigh or grabbing the front of the shin, whatever feels good for you, wherever you can feel a stretch. It's pretty strong. This is a strong stretch. And then to increase the stretch, you can draw your right knee towards you and draw your left toes towards you. And then slight release. And then draw your knee towards you, draw your toes towards you. Feel that stretch and release. One more. Draw the knee towards you, draw the toes in and release. And then unhook that foot and just hold for a moment with just your knees bent, just to reset. And squeezing your knees in towards your chest and keeping them together, circling them together. Massaging the lower back and circling the opposite direction. We're going to go into our core work from here. So extend your legs and bend your legs at the knees till your feet come into a 90-degree position. Feeling your head, neck and shoulders off the ground and looking towards your belly. Extending your arms forward and hold. Inhale, expand the side and back of the ribs. As you exhale, draw the belly towards the spine. Inhale, expand the side and back of the ribs. Exhale, belly towards the spine. Remember, you can place your hands behind your head to relax the head. One more. Inhale, expand the side and back of the ribs. Exhale, belly towards the spine. And then resting your head on the ground. Cross your legs over the ankles, place your hands just below the shins, and then rocking up and down the body, if it feels good for you, to come over into your first downward dog. And once you're there, gently pedaling out the feet. Slight bend in the knees, raising the tailbone towards the sky. Come down on your knees for a moment, and I'm going to show you the next move, which is called convoluted dog. So this is where we begin to introduce rolling motion into the body and beginning to come into contact with the ground. So using the ground to help us with our yoga. So I'll show you what it looks like first. So we come into downward dog. From here, I bend my knees, I bring my weight forward over my hands into plank, and then I push my tailbone up towards the sky. I bend the knees, I bring the weight forward, I push the tailbone up. So it's a nice rolling motion through the body. So come join me in downward dog. So everyone bend your knees, bring the weight forward over the hands as far as comfortable, and then push your weight back. Bend the knees, bring the weight forward. Keep the elbows straight, don't bend the elbows here, and then push the tailbone up towards the sky. A couple more. Bend the knees, come forward into plank, push the tailbone up. Bend, forward, up, and hold in downward dog. We're going to go in the opposite direction. So come up on the toes, come forward into plank, bend the knees, push the tailbone back up. Up on the toes, forward into plank. Use your hands, push yourself back up into downward dog. Up on the toes, forward into plank. Push your hands against the earth to push up into downward dog. A couple more. Forward and back. Up on the toes, forward into plank. Bend the knees, push back and hold. And from here we're going to go into child, so bring your big toes to touch. Bring your knees out wide and then sit back on your heels, arms extended. Resting your forehead on the ground. If your forehead doesn't reach, you can always bring one fist on top of the other fist and rest your head down. Breathing in, 2, 3, and out, 2, 3. If you have your arms, extend your arms out if you can, and then begin to walk your hands over to one side. And try to keep the opposite hip down towards the ground. So feeling that stretch along the side of the body. And then walking your hands out to the center, pause for a moment. Reach as far as you can, and then walking over to the other side, feeling that side stretch. Keep the opposite hip down towards the ground. Then walk the hands out front, stretch, and then bring the weight onto the hands, uncurl the toes, sit back, come up into downward dog. And then walk your hands back towards your feet and come into your forward fold. Bring the weight onto the toes, deep bend in the knees, cross the elbows and relax the head and neck. Slight shake of the head for no, slight nod, yes. Very tiny movements here. And then cross the opposite elbows, feel that stretch across the back of the body. Coming up into a half lift. So straighten the legs, look up, shoulder blades come back, creating extension along the spine. And then forward fold, deep bend in the knees. Again into a half lift, look up, straighten the legs, shoulder blades come back, create that length. Exhale, fold. One more, half lift, look up, shoulder blades back. Exhale, fold. Push your feet into the earth, keep the knees bent as you roll up through the spine, imagining each vertebra as they're coming up through the spine, almost like Lego blocks stacking on top of each other. Head rises. Lift the hands, look towards the hands, and then melt down through the center of the body. Walk your hands out and come into plank. Wrists beneath the shoulders. Push the heels out, pull the belly towards the spine. If this is too strong, bring your knees down towards the ground and hold. We're going to come down to Sphinx. So come down to the ground. Once you're there, Bring your elbows just in front of your shoulders. Push your forearms into the earth and lift the chest. There should be no pressure or tension on the lower back. Only go as high as comfortable for you. Bring your head back down. Bring your hands beneath your shoulders. Curl your toes at the back. Push back into downward dog. Walk your hands back to your feet and fold. And keep the knees bent. Bring the weight forward onto the toes. Come into your half lift. Look up, shoulder blades back. Exhale, fold. Push your feet into the earth. Keep the knees bent as we roll up through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Head is the last to come up. Then the arms rise. Look towards the hands, melt down through the center of the body. Walk your hands out. Feel the mat beneath your hands as you walk out into your plank. Wrists beneath the shoulders. Push the heels out. Pull the belly towards the spine. Or lowering your knees if that's too strong. Coming down to the ground again. Coming down into Sphinx. So all the way down. And when you're there, bring your elbows just in front of your shoulders. Push your forearms into the earth, lift the chest. And then exhale, bring your head down, bring your hands beneath your shoulders. Curl the toes at the back, push back, downward dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet and fold, knees bent. Inhale into half lift, shoulder blades back. Exhale, fold. Push your feet into the earth. Keep the knees bent, roll up through the spine. Push against the earth to bring you up towards the sky. Raise the arms up. Exhale, fold down through the center of the body. Walk your hands out. Come into either plank or bringing your knees down towards the ground. If you want to go for upward dog, follow me. Bring your knees down. Raise the toes. The elbows will brush the ribs and will come down and then push our feet into the earth to come into upward dog. So we raise the toes, elbows brush the ribs, push your hands into the earth, tops of the feet push against the mat to lift the right legs, and then push your hands against the earth to open up the chest. Push back into downward dog and hold. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, pull the belly towards the spine. Inhale, look towards the front as you step towards the front of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Gently close your eyes. Allow yourself to catch your breath. So we're going to do this opening sequence pretty much for every class so that it becomes familiar in your body and you can learn to use your breath to guide the movement. Because yoga is about connecting with our breath, using our breath to guide the flow. So we're going to come into Surya A, Sun Salutation A, and how gorgeous is the sunshine today. I'm just looking out and I can almost see the sun from here, it's gorgeous. So bringing your hands to your heart, make sure your feet are hip width apart. Inhale, raising the arms up and out to the side. Exhale, bring the hands down through the center as you forward fold, bringing the weight forward onto the toes so you can fold at the hips. Inhale, coming into a half lift, straightening the legs, shoulder blades back, extension along the spine. Exhale, fold, step back into either plank or lowering the knees down, whatever feels good for you. Everyone, lowering the knees, we're going to go into upward dog. So bring the elbows towards the ribs, push into the earth, top of the feet, connect with the mat, open up through the chest. And then back into downward dog. Inhale, bend the knees. Exhale, pull the belly towards the spine, come up on the toes. Look towards the hands as you step towards the front of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. We're going to do that a couple more times. Allowing for you to catch your breath first. Or perhaps it's just me because I'm talking and guiding you at the same time. Hands to the heart. Inhale, arms rise. Look towards the hands. Exhale, fold down through the center of the body. Inhale, half lift, look up, shoulder blades back. Exhale, fold, step back into plank, or if it's too strong, bring your knees down. Everyone lower the knees, raise the toes. Elbows brush the ribs, push up into upward dog. Exhale, back, downward dog. Breathe in, bend the knees. Exhale, pull the belly towards the spine. Inhale, look towards the front as you step towards the front. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. One more, this time with the breath. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift, look up. Exhale, fold, step back into plank. Lower the knees, raise the toes. Elbows brush the ribs. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, back, downward dog. Breathe in, bend the knees. Exhale, pull the belly towards the spine. Inhale, look towards the front as you step towards the front. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Gently closing the eyes. And catching your breath. So coming into our warrior series, bringing your hands to your heart. This time squeezing the thighs together, we're going to come into a chair pose. So sweep the hands down and come up into a chair. Sit your hips back like you're sitting in a chair. You don't want your hips to be tilting upwards, so just allow the tailbone to drop gently down towards the ground. Raise the arms up. Rotate the little fingers towards you. If this is too strong, bring your hands to your heart. Chair. And then forward fold. Inhale, half lift, look up. Exhale, fold. Step back. And hold in downward dog. Raise the right leg. Bring the knee towards the chest. Bring the weight forward, set that foot in between the hands. Come up into warrior one. Back foot at 45 degrees. Front knee at 90 degrees. And hold. Open out into warrior two. Back foot at 90 degrees. Front knee at 90 degrees. Bring your front elbow onto your front knee. And then open that top arm up. If it's strong on your shoulder, you can rotate that hand and bring it behind you to come into a half bind. Try not to put too much weight on this knee, so draw in through your core to help keep that strength through the middle. And then circle the hands out and around to warrior two. Cartwheel the hands down. Raise that front foot up. Bring it back down into downward dog. You have the option here of holding in downward dog or coming with me for a flow. So for a flow, we come forward into plank, lower the knees, raise the toes, elbows brush the ribs into upward dog, back into downward dog. And then we're going to go on the other side. So raising the left leg, bring the knee towards the chest, pull the belly towards the spine, bring the weight towards the hands as you bring that foot between the hands. You can always pick it up and shuffle it forwards. I can't see you. And then coming up into a warrior one. Back foot at 45 degrees, front knee at 90 degrees. Hips squaring towards the front. And hold. Feel as if you're stretching the mat with your legs. Bring your hands down, warrior two. Back foot at 90 degrees, front knee at 90 degrees. Feel like the hips are spiraling outwards to the back of the root. Look over the front of your middle finger. Bring your elbow down to that knee and then open up the top arm. Create one long line from the little finger to the little toe. If that's too strong, you can always bring your arm behind you to come into a half bind. Remember not to collapse onto that front leg, but to create a little strength in the core to help you. Circle your arms out and around to come back into warrior two. Cartwheel both hands down. Raise that front foot up. Place it down. Either hold in downward dog or come forward for a flow. Come forward into plank. Lower the knees. Raise the toes. Elbows brush the ribs. Push up. Upward dog. Exhale. Back. Downward dog. Inhale. Bend the knees. Exhale. Pull the belly towards the spine. Inhale, look towards the front as you step towards the front of the mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. Gently closing the eyes. Connecting with your breath. Connecting with your heart rate. Opening your eyes, pick your left leg up, step out to the side, coming into a wide stance. Toes pointing towards each other. So your outer edges of the feet should be parallel with the mat. You can have a slight bend in your knees here. Placing your hands on your hips. Inhale. As you exhale, fold forward at the hips, bringing the weight onto the toes. Bring your fingertips down towards the earth. We're going to come into a half lift. So inhale, look up, shoulder blades back. Slight bend in the knees, fingertips connecting with the earth. Exhale, fold. Again, come onto the fingertips. Inhale, look up, shoulder blades back. Slight bend in the knees. Exhale, fold. And one more. Half lift, look up. And exhale, fold. Walk your hands back to wherever feels comfortable. Enjoying a slight inversion. Noticing any tight spaces and trying to just breathe into them. Place your hands on your hips. Use the strength of the legs on the next inhale to come back up to standing. Roll the shoulders back. Roll them forwards. Lift your shoulders up towards your ears and drop. And again, up, drop. One more, up and drop. And then slowly making your way towards the top of the mat. So we're going to come down into a squat, malasana. So if you need to, you can use a block to help underneath your feet, or even just roll the mat up slightly, or you can balance, whatever feels good for you. So from here we want to make sure our feet are as wide as our hips. And then we just sit back comfortably. And like I said, you can place your feet on a block if you want to help with balance. So we get to wherever is comfortable for us. And try and lift up the chest so you're not falling forwards. And if you can, see if you can bring your hands off the ground and bring your hands into prayer position. Squeeze your elbows against your knees, it will help you with your balance. And draw up through the center of you, draw up through your core. You can try closing your eyes. And then place your hands on the ground. You're going to straighten your legs and come into a forward fold. So bring your heels down, keep your knees bent, and then fold forward at the hips. Try to bring your chest down towards your knees. So you can have your knees really bent in this pose. So really relaxing the head down here. Either bringing your hands onto your feet, onto the floor, behind your calves, whatever feels good. And you can slowly begin to straighten the knees. And then we're going to make our way up to standing. So keep your knees bent, push your feet against the earth, rolling up through the vertebra one at a time, slowly. Head is the last to rise, arms wide, bring the hands to the heart. And coming into standing meditation at the top of the mat. So feeling your feet connecting with the earth, feet hip width apart. Notice if the weight is more on the front of the foot or the back of your feet. You might want to create small circles on the ground, just transferring the weight. And noticing what happens to your body if you lean too far over to one side. Notice how you catch yourself. And then finding that place of balance and stillness. Next, bringing your attention to your knees, noticing if they're locked back. Bend them slightly. This is going to allow the tailbone to relax down towards the ground. Release the hands up to the sides. Roll the shoulders up and back, opening up the chest. Slight energy in the fingertips, so the fingers are slightly active. Lengthen the back of the neck by drawing the chin slightly down, and imagine you've got a piece of string holding up at the top of the head. Gently closing the eyes, Tadasana. Gently opening the eyes, getting ready for our balance. I'm going to show you the next pose first. So we're going to come onto one leg. And from here, I'm going to activate that leg, so it's quite strong. And then bring the other knee up and grab the inside edge of that knee. My other hand comes to my hip. Then I begin to open out to the side. So pose 1 of here is just to here. I can bring the other hand out, thumb and forefinger together, or keep the hand on the hip. I can choose to look over that hand. I'm really pulling through the core. Whoop. And then I come back to the center and down. The other option for this, and you can use a wall to help you with your balance, or a chair if you have one nearby. You start with your hand on your hip. Pull that knee up to the... Activate this standing leg, so I'm pushing into the leg and I'm activating the buttock. I bring that knee. This time I reach for the toe. So I'm reaching for the big toe with my first 2 fingers, and then I extend that leg out. And then from here, I bring it out to the side. I really activate my standing leg here, and then I can bring that hand out. And the last part of this is to look over, out, to the side. Then I come and bring my gaze back to the middle, bring that leg, hold for a moment, and then fold it in and down. That's quite a mouthful. Okay, let's all try. Remember, you can either hold your knee and bring it out to the side, or hold the foot, whatever feels good for you. So, bring your weight onto your left leg. Activate the standing leg, pulling through the buttock. And feel the strength, feel the support of the earth holding you up here. And then gently bring your knee up, hold the knee, and hold. Pull in through your core. This might be enough for you. If you want to go further, bring the knee out towards the side. Or you can reach forward for that toe between the big toe and the second toe and extend that foot forward. I'm going to stay with the knee. Bring the hand out to the side, thumb and forefinger to touch. Knee up to side or foot. And then lastly, look out over the hands. Gaze back towards the center, hand back towards the hip. Knee or foot back towards the center, hold, and then down. And then shake out the legs. That's pretty strong. I think my legs were in that one for quite a long time because I was showing you how to do it. And so a little bit of a bounce. Cool. Other side. Bring your opposite hand to your hip. Feel that strength in the leg. Activate the leg, pulling through the buttock. Reach for the knee or the toe. Pulling through the core. Look at something that's not moving. Then bring that knee out towards the side. Either keep your hand on your hip or thumb and forefinger to touch out to the side. If you want to go further, look out over the side. Woo. Some sides are harder than others. And then bring the hand back to the hip. Bring the knee back to center, knee or foot, hold, and then bring it down. You probably held it a little longer than I did. My balance is no good today on that side. That's all good. Shake your legs out. We just accept our bodies where they are on that day. And then we're going to make our way down towards the ground. So coming towards the top of the mat. Bring your hands to the heart. Arms rise. Look up. Exhale, forward, fold. Inhale, half lift, look up. Exhale, fold, step back into downward dog. And then coming down towards the ground. So bringing one foot in front of the other, crossing the ankles, and then sitting as gracefully down as you can. Here, if you have a block or a blanket or something to sit on to prop up your hips, grab that. So we're going to go into a little bit of forward folding. Catching your breath for a moment. Bringing your legs out wide. You can bend your knees here. And you want to lean forward with your chest forward. So I'm not curling my back, I'm leaning my chest forward. So I'm going to bring my hands out in front and imagine I'm stirring a big pot. Remember, I was a kids yoga teacher, so some of this will come back in sometimes. We are stirring that big pot. So we're literally moving up out of our hips, stirring that big pot. And then we find a spot in front and we hold and we place our hands down. And feeling that stretch. Draw your toes towards you. And slight release. And we're going to stir the other way. So imagining you've got a big wooden spoon and you're stirring a big pot in front of you. One more. And then release. Hands forward. Chest forward. Remember, we're not curling the back. You might be able to reach your feet. You might be able to just reach the ground in front of you. Remember, no striving. Non-violence, Ahimsa. And then lifting up your legs and bringing them into the center. You might want to squeeze them in for a moment to relax the hips. It's pretty strong on the hip joints, this stuff. We're coming into a butterfly pose. So bringing our toes to touch and our knees fall out towards the side. And you can just begin to wave them, almost as if you had butterfly wings. Remember, we want to keep our chest up so we're not collapsing in. And we find a comfortable spot. We begin to come into the stretch. Bring your thumbs down towards the pad of your feet, so underneath your feet. Place your hands on top of your feet. Then open your feet out like they're a book, so that you can read the book. And feeling that gentle stretch in the hips. Breathing into any tight spaces. Now we're going to inch the feet forward about 1 foot length in front. You might need to readjust. So here I'm going to come off the block because it's easier for me, but whatever feels good for you. So you brought your feet further out in front. We're going to lean forward and see if we can bring our hands underneath the feet and clasp around the front of the feet. I feel like you can't see me, so I'm going to scoot back 1 second. So I lean forward, I reach for the feet, I bring my hands underneath my legs, reach for the ground, and then I try and hold my feet. And then I can relax my head down, turtle pose. And then gently releasing, we're going to come into a forward fold. So bend your right knee and extend your left leg. Remember, you can keep it bent. You can also bring a strap over your foot. You can also sit on your block if you want for these poses. Whatever feels good for you. So I'm going to do 3 rolls to come down. Bring my hands towards my feet. So I draw the hands up through the center as high as I can and forward fold. I draw the hands up as high as I can and fold forward. One more along the ground, up through the body, high and then fold and hold. And wherever you grab is fine. Draw your toes towards you. You might be on your shins, you might have your hands on the ground, you might be holding a strap. Chest towards the toes. Relaxing the head and neck. Non-striving, non-pushing. If the body feels like it can release, allow it to. And walking your hands back and switching over sides. So this time your right leg is long, your left leg is short. Your left leg is bent. You can bend your right knee. You can use a strap. Placing your hands at your feet. Draw the hands along the earth, up through the body as high as you can, and fold. 2 more. Along the earth, up high, fold. Last one. Up high, and forward fold. Draw your toes towards you. Draw your chest towards your toes. You can use your breath to extend, and on the exhale, you can come out a little further. But listen to your body. And walking your hands back. Bring both legs out in front, give a bit of a wiggle. And then coming into our forward fold. Remember, you can have your knees bent, you can use a strap. Starting with our hands at our feet. Draw them along the earth, up through the center, and fold. Along the earth, up to the body, up to the top, fold. One more, along the earth, up the body as high as you can go, and then forward fold. Draw your toes towards you. Chest towards your toes. Relax the head and neck. Breathing into any tight spaces. And then walking your hands back. Making our way onto our back. Lying down gently. Once you're there, bending your knees and bringing your feet out as wide as the mat. Coming into some gentle twists. Bring your arms out to the side. Begin to windscreen wiper your knees from one side to the other. So just gently rocking from one side to the other. And then resting on one side and hold. Either look towards the ceiling or look back towards your hand. Then bring the knees up to center and switch over to the other side. And bring your knees up to center and squeeze them into the chest. Create small circles, massaging the lower back and the other way. And getting ready for Shavasana, either grabbing a blanket or a shawl to keep you warm. For this version, you can choose to come into butterfly pose with your legs. So that's bringing your toes to touch and allowing the knees to fall out towards the sides. So this is also restorative. You can bring your arms out to the sides. Now if you do start to feel tired in this pose, you can use your hands when you're ready to push your knees up towards center and then release your legs out to Shavasana. So as I said, you can choose to start in butterfly pose like this with your feet touching and your knees out to the side, opening up through the hips. Or you can just rest in Shavasana with your legs out long. Whatever feels good for you. So wherever you are, closing your eyes, feel your body pressing down into the earth. Feel the weight of your hips. Feel your shoulder blades pressing into the earth. Feel the back of the head, relaxing the forehead. Becoming aware of your breath. Slowly becoming aware of the sound of my voice. Anything you can hear, anything you can sense. Gently beginning to wriggle the fingers and the toes, allowing movement and sensation to slowly come back into the body. Circling the ankles, circling the wrists, taking your breath into the belly, stretching your arms overhead, and when you're ready, coming over to roll over onto your right hand side, keeping your eyes closed. And gently pushing yourself up into a seated position. Bringing your hands onto your knees, and you can keep your eyes closed. Beginning small spiral movements, so just going back to those spirals we did at the start of class. And noticing how you feel. There's a little bit more space in the hips. And circling the other direction. Does this side feel the same as the other side? Making those spirals smaller and smaller until you come to a complete stop. Either keeping your hands on your knees or bringing your hands to your heart. I invite you to picture in your mind's eye someone, a person, an animal, a world cause that you care deeply for and you wish to send a little love to. We're going to conclude with 3 Oms. You can send your love out to them. Inhale to begin. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings have happiness and the causes for happiness. Thank you for joining me for this beautiful practice of yoga. Thank you to all my teachers before me. Namaste. Remember to be kind to yourself. Ahimsa starts with ourselves, non-violence.